The entire history of Christian and Pagan Gnosticism is shrouded in deep mystery and obscurity. While the Gnostics were undoubtedly prolific writers, little of their literature has survived. They incurred the animosity of the early Christian church, and when this institution gained world power, it destroyed all available records of the Gnostic cult. The name Gnostic means wisdom or knowledge, derived from the Greek word gnosis. The members of the order claimed to be acquainted with the secret doctrines of early Christianity and interpreted the Christian mysteries through pagan symbolism. They concealed their secret information and philosophical tenets from the uninitiated, teaching them only to a select group of specially initiated individuals. Simon Magus, the magician famous from the New Testament, is often believed to have been the founder of Gnosticism. If this is accurate, the sect likely originated during the century following Christ and may represent the first of many branches emerging from Christianity's main trunk. The early Christian church enthusiasts labeled anything they disagreed with as inspired by the devil. Even Simon Magus's adversaries conceded that he possessed mysterious and supernatural powers, though they claimed these powers were granted by infernal spirits and furies said to be his constant companions. One of the most intriguing legends about Simon is his theosophic contest with the Apostle Peter, while they were both preaching their differing doctrines in Rome. According to the account preserved by the Church Fathers, Simon was to demonstrate his spiritual superiority by ascending to heaven in a chariot of fire. He was reportedly lifted many feet into the air by invisible forces. When St. Peter witnessed this, he shouted loudly, commanding the demons, spirits of the air, to release their hold on the magician. The evil spirits, under Peter's command, were compelled to obey. Simon then fell from a great height and died, which was seen as a decisive proof of Christian power superiority. However, this story is likely a fabrication, as it is just one of many conflicting accounts of Simon's death. With increasing evidence suggesting that St. Peter was never in Rome, the story's remaining authenticity is rapidly diminishing. That Simon was a philosopher is beyond doubt, as his exact words, where preserved, showcase his beautifully expressed, synthetic and transcending thoughts. The principles of Gnosticism are well described in the following statement, attributed to him and supposedly preserved by Hippolytus. To you, therefore, I say what I say and write what I write. And the writing is this: of the universal Æons there are two shoots, without beginning or end, springing from one root, which is the power invisible, inapprehensible silence. Of these shoots, one is manifested from above, which is the great power, the universal mind ordering all things, male, and the other from below, the great thought, female, producing all things. Hence, pairing with each other, they unite and manifest the middle distance, incomprehensible air, without beginning or end. In this is the Father who sustains all things and nourishes those things which have a beginning and end. By this we understand that manifestation results from a positive and a negative principle interacting with each other, occurring in the middle plane or point of equilibrium called the pleroma. This pleroma is a unique substance formed from the blending of spiritual and material aeons. From the pleroma emerged the Demiurgus, the immortal mortal, responsible for our physical existence and the associated suffering. In the Gnostic system, three pairs of opposites, called Syzygies, emanated from the Eternal One, making a total of 7 with himself. Simon described these 6 Æons, living divine principles, in the Philosophumena as follows. The first 2 were mind, nous, and thought, epinoia. Next were voice, phone, and its opposite, name, onoma. And lastly, reason, logismos, and reflection, entomesis. From these primordial 6, united with the eternal flame, came the Æons, angels, who formed the lower worlds under the direction of the Demiurgus. How this early Gnosticism of Simon Magus and his disciple Menander was expanded and often distorted by later adherents to the cult must now be considered. The school of Gnosticism was divided into 2 major branches, commonly referred to as the Syrian cult and the Alexandrian cult. While these schools agreed on fundamental aspects, the Alexandrian cult leaned more toward pantheism, whereas the Syrian cult was more dualistic. The Syrian cult was predominantly Simonian, whereas the Alexandrian school emerged from the philosophical ideas of Basilides, a clever Egyptian Christian who claimed to have received teachings from the Apostle Matthew. Like Simon Magus, Basilides was an emanationist with Neoplatonic inclinations. The entire Gnostic mystery is grounded in the concept of emanations as a logical link between the irreconcilable opposites of absolute spirit and absolute substance, which the Gnostics believed existed together in eternity. Some argue that Basilides was the true founder of Gnosticism, but there is considerable evidence suggesting that Simon Magus established its fundamental principles in the preceding century. The Alexandrian Basilides integrated Egyptian Hermeticism, Oriental Occultism, Chaldean Astrology, and Persian philosophy into his teachings, aiming to unite early Christian schools with ancient pagan mysteries. He is credited with formulating the concept of the deity known as Abraxas. Godfrey Higgins in Celtic Druids demonstrated that the numerological values of the letters in the word Abraxas total 365. Higgins also noted that the name Mithras, when analyzed similarly, yields the same numerical value. Basilides believed that the universe's powers were divided into 365 Æons, or spiritual cycles, and that their collective sum represented the Supreme Father, whom he named Abraxas, symbolizing his divine powers, attributes, and emanations.